DollarPreview.com brings you the new blood of Hollywood. Now you have a choice. Oscar Michaud style, baby.
If you want to see something you've never seen before, go to DollarPreview.com.
Yeah, we're back on Knoxville's Thug Radio, and we're in that ashtray looking for some of that funk. This is your DJ, Sticky Green, and we got a new one here we're gonna twist up for you from the 5-foot giant from Moj Smooth, called Funk or Die, baby.
Go ahead. Reach for it. You can make it.
This is it. The one and only tribute to the 1973 blockbuster film Superfly, starring and directed by independent guerrilla filmmaker Tony Topaz. This clever, no-budget production is a gem of guerrilla filmmaking, proving imitation is indeed the greatest form of flattery. Tony Topaz's likeness to Ron O'Neal's Superfly is uncanny, although there are very reminiscent images that pay tribute to Ron O'Neal's performance. The tribute stops there. Blood Money has its very own unique story and style. This guerrilla masterpiece is a must-see and is yours for a pledge of just $10. And for a pledge of $5, you can get the funky soundtrack. And for a pledge of $20, you can get the 2-disc original director's cut entitled Funky Fridays, packed with a ton of extras. DollarPreview.com brings you the new blood of Hollywood. Now you have a choice. Oscar Michaud style, baby.
Hi, I'm Melissa Ann Marie Farley. I am an actress primarily, but I wear kind of a lot of different hats. I actually am a writer as well. I do a lot of script writing, and I work for azcentral.com. I run 17 hyperlocal neighborhood sites, and I also run a nonprofit organization on the side, Keep Arizona Beautiful. It's all about kind of the green efforts that Arizona is doing right now. And then I do fashion writing for a couple different magazines, Catwalk and Runway, and I do commentary for them on their website as well for like NYC Fashion Week and all that good stuff. So, oh, and I do a radio show. I do a radio show called This Guy, That Girl. It's like a modern, hipper, cooler version of Dr. Phil, where we talk about love and sex and, you know, dating and all that good stuff. You can find it online on the Cazador Social Delirium Radio Network, or you can download it on iTunes. We're on the Stitcher app and TuneIn app, and then if you have Roku, you can also look up Cazador Radio on Roku and stream it that way. My acting started, well, when I was in high school. I always, wanted to do drama, and so as a freshman, I auditioned, to be in one of the plays, and I was the only freshman to get cast in A West Side Story, and then I was also a fairy in Midsummer Night's Dream as a freshman as well, and then the next year after that, I got cast as Ophelia in Hamlet, and then, I kept booking roles, and theater kind of became my home. I did an Agatha Christie play and a lot of Shakespeare, a lot of modern drama, and then I just really fell in love with it. But in my senior year as a college student, I had to take an elective, and I ended up taking acting for the camera, just kind of for fun. And the professor of that class actually was an Emmy Award-winning director. He's actually won multiple awards, and when I did the class, he pulled me aside one day and he said, you got to do this, you got to try to do this. And I told him, I said, all right, Charles, I'm pretty goal oriented here. Like, I don't like just kind of swing my bat at the wind. Like, how do I do this, And so he was very practical with me. He helped me get my first set of headshots and introduced me to his agent, who I signed with right out the gate. And I started talking to a lot of friends and auditioning for anything and everything. Literally, I was just going on Durant.com or other local casting websites and auditioning. I started going out to a lot of mixers and events and meeting people and just talking to them. And it wasn't long before I booked my first lead role in a feature film called New World Order, which actually is doing extremely well now on the Christian film market. It's getting really great reviews. We had full distribution for it, so it's actually internationally distributed, and that's kind of what anchored my acting career in film. Was after I booked that role, a lot of other things started to pick up for me.
Well, maybe it's fate.
Jesus Christ will return.
I can't believe this is happening.
We heard on the news today that the mark is now mandatory.
I'm not going to take the mark, and neither are you.
No, of course not.
Anybody who won't bow down and worship the image of the beast will be killed.
The Supreme Chancellor himself is going to be speaking. I don't feel safe here anymore, okay?
Where's your daughter?
Where's she at?
I empower you to no end. Find their leaders and destroy them.
It shall be done.
What is it you're planning to do?
Whatever we have to survive.
The film is post-apocalyptic, so the rapture actually has happened, and then there's people that are left behind, and I am one of them. But it's about myself, actually. I'm the lead character along with another character played by Erin Jacine, who was my best friend in the film. Her character's name was Kristen, and I played the role of Demi. And we went to church, and like we were pretty good kids, but we just didn't quite get it. And so basically what starts happening is the mark of the beast becomes mandatory, and we don't want to take the mark, and so we kind of embark on this escape plan, and we kind of meet up with these underground resistance leaders to stay alive, because basically they've ordered like an executive decision that anybody who doesn't have the mark can be executed on the spot. And so we're just trying to stay alive and just trying to hold on to the hope and understand why we're still here and what we can do. And there was a little bit of a twist ending. Nobody really expects the ending, which I won't give that away, but whatever you think is going to happen doesn't. So with this character specifically, I was referred for the role by the DP, and he referred me because he thought that the personality type that they were looking for was similar to the personality type that I have naturally. And so when I went in to meet with the director and the producer, it was literally like one of those things. I walked in, said a couple words, and they were like, "That's our Demi. Like, we don't really need to see much more from you. That's our girl." And when they said that, I was like, okay, so all I can really do for this role is be honest with myself. So as I was going through the film in these different scenarios, I was just being me in those situations, in those extreme circumstances, and trying to honestly feel out how I would respond and how I would feel and how scared I would be, and what kind of leadership roles would I take on and what would be my pitfalls. And it was a very I really wanted to be organic with this character, and I think that I'm proud of that part of my work, in this film, that she came off very real. And the other kind of fun part was she was supposed to be like 16 or 17, and I'm really short. I'm like 4'10", so I will eternally look like a high school student until I get wrinkly. So that was kind of fun to kind of have a high school crush again and go through all that stuff. So she was just, and that was kind of the thing about the movie that was interesting, was even though it was these really, what we might think of as terrifying or really crazy outlandish ideas of what could happen, it's their everyday life, and you're not gonna wake up every day and just be like, you can't do that. You have to come to a place of acceptance of this is your life. And so that's how both of Kristen and I approach those characters, where we have to live in this, we have to be this, we have to understand this, and wake up every day knowing that this is our reality.
Here's something that's really going to blow your mind. You could get paid for watching movies for free. That's right, free.
DogRadio.com gives you the new blood of Hollywood. Now you have a choice. Oscar Michaud style, baby.
I'm in the mood for a game of chess.
A different film called Women in Love, and it is all about women who made choices and big mistakes, really, when it came to love. And it's split into 3 sections. So there's a section on Eva Braun, who was Hitler's lover, Ophelia, which is obviously a fictional character, and then I played the role of Anne Boleyn when she, is first meeting and courting King Henry, and it goes through kind of that whole story up until her beheading. That's when you met me, when I was in full attire and the British accent and all that good stuff.
Lenny Bruce says if a woman had to die, it would take her 2 hours to get ready.
Yeah, I felt very at home with that, and actually just a lot of stuff that I used as a kid, because I watched a lot of films from that period and did a lot of research, and the women were just very graceful with their movements, very slow and intentional. And my ballet, I have over a decade of ballet experience. I really focused on some of the physical components for that character, such as just having that really straight kind of posture and the really flowing sort of slow movements, with the arms, and even extending your fingers out more, and just little physical things that I think really brought her to life, that were really cool for me. And also having that accent is, you feel intelligent whenever you talk in a British accent, you can't help but not. So it was a lot of fun to play in that space of being Anne. Well, right now I'm finishing out a project called Grief, which is without a doubt, most intense emotional role I've ever taken on. It's an ensemble cast, and I play a woman named Sharon, who is about ready to pop. She's, over 8 months pregnant and just kind of waiting, for the baby to come out. But basically, all of the characters are dealing with a form of grief, hence the title, after the central character that connects them all, Carrie, commits suicide. And so we're all sort of coping with that in our own way. And Sharon struggles very much with various addictions in her life, whether it be finding affection from men to oxy and alcohol and all these different things while she's pregnant. And so I have really bad emotional hangover literally the next day after filming this role. So it's been quite the journey on grief. I will hopefully wrap on that within the next month. After that, I really haven't been auditioning while working on grief, because I wanted to keep myself focused on this film in particular, because I knew how demanding the role would be. And I also was hoping to sort of free myself up from commitments to move to LA. I do hope to move to LA and start working more regularly out there. I've taken moves to try to beef up my resume with some more industrial work and commercials and things like that before I get out there, because I have a pretty extensive film background, indie film background and short films on my resume. But I do plan to go out to LA and train. I expect to take a lot of classes and kind of start all over again, start fresh. I mean, that's what I've heard. When you go out to LA, it's like starting from the beginning. It's a whole new market, a whole new ball game. So.
Until the day you're free to be with me, I continue to love you because I have no choice. Because I have no choice.
My agent is great in finding some short films and the commercials and industrial and print work. She's fabulous on that. But as far as most of those films go, New World Order, the Christian one that I started talking about first, the DP is extremely well known. He was actually the founder of, not the founder, but he was the president of IFP for a while out here, and he relocated to LA recently. But I just had a class with Webb Pickersgill, and I also did a table read with Webb for a script that he was working on, and so he had me in mind for this film when he read it and got brought on board. So he suggested me to the director and the producer, which I am eternally thankful for him. And so that's how that happened. For Women in Love, I will say this, I fought really hard for that role because I really wanted it. I just saw the casting notice on, I think it was Durant.com, and I so badly wanted this role that I worked with a coach. I did private coaching sessions I found Anne Boleyn's actual speech, historical speech from right before she was about to be beheaded. And we worked on that piece over and over again. We worked, we just really kind of fleshed out that character for me before I went in and auditioned for it. And it honestly, for the longest time, because the director's very straightforward, Geeta is very straightforward, and she told me it was between me and one other person. And the person that I was up against is an extremely gifted Shakespearean actor. She actually owns a theater of her own, and they have a whole company that does, Shakespearean theater adaptations and really great work. And so I was like, oh my God, there's no way, but I just tried to do my thing. Grief. Kevin Phipps is the director of Grief, and he's working on this film with Rangelo Productions, and they actually had a film that they were working on a couple years ago called Hope, Life Alone. It ends up being a sci-fi pilot, a TV pilot, but that was the very first professional set I had ever been on. And so I met them and kind of fell in love with film from being on their film set. And I worked with Kevin in classes for quite a while, and really just learned from him a lot. And I went to the table reading of Grief, and I read for the role of Sharon and really expressed my interest. And I shot the trailer for Grief, the teaser trailer, and I still wasn't officially offered the role. And then I think they got a lot of really positive feedback about the cast selections from the trailer, and that's when, a couple of days after that, Kevin called me and officially offered me the role of Sharon. So I always come from a place of love and growth and wanting everything and everybody to be better and to do better. And so I never, when I critique a film or work or a performance or anything, I never come from it from like a place of like, oh, I just don't like you and I don't like that and, you know, it's awful, blah. Like, I never critique that way. It's always very specific with opportunities for improvement. And I think that as artists, you have to be open to that. You have to be receptive to it. And granted, they can take it or leave it, you know, what I offer them, but it's just a perspective. It's something that I observe that I would like to see more of or less of or done differently, and I'm just one person. And if it's of value to, you know, the people's work or performance that I'm reviewing, then great. If not, then I understand that, you know. But at the same time, it can be scary because I'm not out to make enemies, you know. I would hate to, you know, not be able to work on a film because I, you know, rated something less than favorable, you know, just because I didn't like that particular, you know, film doesn't mean that I don't like that director's line of, you know, entire body of work or something. So there's always that little risk in the back of my mind, but I try to not let that affect my judgment. I try to still be honest and pure in what I think about things. And like I said, most of the time it comes from a really positive, loving place, you know, which I think is important when you're critiquing something. So it's called This Guy, That Girl, and I do it with another host. His name is Dan Dice, and it's fun because we'll pick, you know, we'll predetermine topics of things that we want to talk about. You know, and a lot of them is based off of our own, like, relationship fails and, you know, just things that we've been through. But the fun part about it is while we do the show, it's always live. It's live on Thursday nights, and so people can call in. People can actually live chat with us. People can send us emails. You know, because some people want to, you know, throw something out there, but they don't want their names or, you know, who they are to be included, which is fine. So the whole identity of the show can kind of evolve around, you know, who our listeners are that night, which is really fun. And Dan is like, you know, he's older than I am. He's a lot more open and wild and kind of has like a crazy skewed view on things, and I'm a little bit more conservative. You know, I come from a different background. I used to be married, you know, so we kind of have this budding, you know, opposition sometimes, but it makes for a lot of fun and a really good show. So yeah, and we do offer advice, obviously, based on how we handle things and what we've learned, but like we don't take ourselves too seriously, so you know, it's just fun. Phoenix is a pretty safe, welcoming market. I can attest to that. I mean, there still are some wolves out there and some not good environments that you can end up in, but for the most part, I think this is a really positive place to get your bearings in this industry. And I would say, you know, I can speak from what I know, and what I know is use the tools that are available to you, and those are Durant.com has really great audition notices. On Facebook, there's the Arizona Actors page and casting notices. You know, you can go on and see what groups other actors are in and join them. They're usually public, and just start, you know, scouring the audition postings and going out for anything and everything, because even if you don't book that specific job, you're meeting people, you know, you're making an impression and they remember you. You know, I've had that happen a couple times where I wouldn't book something, but then they do another project a couple months out and they would remember me and give me a call. So it's always great to go out. And in this business, whether it be Phoenix or LA, a lot of it is who you know. So when there are events, when there are mixers, when there are screenings and film festivals, you know, come out and support, meet the people in the industry, start, you know, talking to folks and whoever you kind of feel that you have good energy from or who you'd like to work with. And you know, that's the other thing, is start watching people's work, see what it is that you're drawn to, what it is that you want to do. And the people out here are really approachable. So, you know, send them emails, send them messages, you know, don't bug them, but just let them know that, you know, you're a fan of what they do and you're getting started, and, you know, what can you do to kind of jump on board with them. And I found people who are really helpful and really receptive to that. But basically, you know, just be thankful for any opportunity. I started out being an extra, not having any lines, you know, to, you know, working my way up. So just enjoy every little piece of it, and learn every time you're on set. You know, you can learn a lot just from observing. I definitely did, and I still do. I will take work for free as long as I see it as some sort of, you know, there's an opportunity for exposure, or there's another benefit to it. Look, when you're first starting out, you're gonna work for free because, you know, you don't have a body of work to show them of why they should hire you. You know, there's no basis there to say, you know, this is kind of what I'm worth, in a sense. But in Phoenix, I'll be honest, it's hard to get paid work, period. I mean, that's just the reality of the market here. When it comes to film, it's very difficult to find paid work. But one approach that I've taken after about a year and a half of taking free work, mind you, is I do have a contract. And when I got contacted by new people that want to work with me that I haven't worked with before, you know, I usually email them back and say, okay, great, you know, this is my rate, here's my contract. And the thing that does is it lets them know that you mean business, and, you know, if they honor that and they will pay you that rate, fantastic. If they come back and say, oh, well, we can't afford that, but we can offer you this, or, oh, we don't have a budget, we're not paying our actors, that's fine, because then it's your choice if you want to accept it or not. But at least it's been put out there, you know, that this is what you're expecting. And so, you know, for me, Arizona is my playground. I take a lot of roles that really challenge me, you know, kind of push my limits, help me break through certain fears. And so for me, it's not about picking the roles that are going to, you know, pay the bills. It's about picking the roles that are going to develop myself as an actor. It's another form of training for me. So it really depends on how you look at it. If this is all about money for you, Phoenix probably isn't going to be the best market for you to stay in very long. You'll probably want to relocate somewhere else where there's a lot more paid work. Hey, it's Melissa, and I thank you for watching me on Topaz Video Mag.
$1 per view. Watch movies now and be paid to do it. With dozens of independent titles, watch your way to rewards, including t-shirts, jackets, and a trip to the Bahamas. How does it work? Easy. Simply click on $1perview.com, pick a movie to view, and collect the silver film reels associated with your choice. Each reel holds cash value. Collect enough reels to purchase the items available through $1 per view. No monthly charges. No money down. Just click, watch, and collect the benefits that $1 per view has to offer. You'll never experience anything like $1 per view.